Good morning. Today we're going to be focusing on two-step word problems. Two-step word problems are just word problems that have two steps. So maybe we're going to be adding and then subtracting, or subtracting and then multiplying, or maybe we're going to be dividing and then adding something. Let's look first at our two problems that we have today. Our first one says, Frank has $27 in the bank. He wants to buy a new video game that costs $51. How much more money does Frank need to buy the game? The first thing that we want you guys to do is to read the entire word problem. Then you need to look at the most important facts that are in the word problem. I like to look at the numbers and then underline them. So we have what numbers in our word problem that I should underline? You're right. I need to underline that he has $27 in the bank and that the game cost $51. Now, I need to look at the question. I like to put a parenthesis, but you could also put a box around the entire question. So let's put a box. I'm going to box it like this, because it's asking me how much more money does Frank need to buy the game. And I know it's the question because it has a question mark. Now, I have to think about what it's asking me. Well, obviously, if it's asking how much more money he needs, that's telling me he doesn't have enough. So I have to say, how do I get from 27 to 51? Well, that sounds like I'm trying to find the difference. And I know when I try to find the difference of something, I need to what? You're right. I need to subtract. So I'm going to take 51 minus 27. And let's see. 1 minus 7. Can't do that. Cross that out. Make it 11 with 10. Count out my 10 for a 4. 11 minus 7 is 4. Good job. 4 minus 2, or 40 minus 20, is 20. So he needs $24 more. Now, the next part is you have to make sure you've answered the question. I'm going to go back to what I boxed. How much more money does Frank need to buy the game? Now, did I have two steps to this problem? No. I just needed to see how much more what he had and what he needed. And then that was it. Now let's look at our second problem. Allison had 24 books on her shelf. She sold half of them at a yard sale. Then she bought 5 more books at the store. How many books does Allison have now? So let's think. The first thing I had to do was read the entire problem. Check, I did that. Now I need to find the numbers. The things that I need there are important in the word problem to underline. So we want you to underline 24 books. And I see that there's a number, but it's in written form, but it's still a number. So I'm going to underline half of them. And I think I'm going to underline sold because that's important. There's an action going with those. And then I'm going to underline 5 more books. And I think I'm going to underline, what was it I said to underline the action that's involved? So I'm going to underline bought. How many books does Allison have now? That looks like the question mark. So that must be the question. So I'm going to box that. Sorry for my movement. Now I think I've underlined all I need. So now let's see. How many books does Allison have now? Ooh, have now. Well, that sounds like she had some, then she got rid of some, so she's going to be probably, if I'm trying to find that I have some and I have some taken away, probably going to have some subtraction. So let's see. She has 24 books on her shelf. She sold half of them at a yard sale. Then she bought 5 more. Sounds like one thing's happening at the very beginning. 24 books and half of them. So I need to deal with the 24 books and half. So that sounds like I need to divide first. Okay? So I'm going to take my 24 that I underlined and half of it. Well, if I'm doing half of something, that just means that I'm dividing it into 2 groups. What is 24 divided by 2? That's right, it's 12. So she has 12 books. Am I done? No, you're right. I need to go continue. I did the half of the yard sale. Then she bought 5 more books. Well, if she bought 5 more, I am actually going to change this to be, I'm going to add. And I'm going to add to the amount that she had before she bought the 5 books, which was 12. So 12 plus 5 equals 17. So she has 17 books. Okay. When you guys are doing your word problems, we want you to underline every number, even if it's in word form. We also want you to underline the verbs of what you're doing to those numbers. And then we want you to break up by boxing the question. If you do this, this will help you to solve 2-step word problems.